Federal Election Commission is rejecting Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's indictment of former President Donald Trump. They say there were no federal election laws broken. Of course, Bragg represents the District of Manhattan as a district attorney. This after Bragg's 34-count indictment stated several campaign finance violations, but didn't really actually mention a crime, right? It was very strange indictment. Very strange week as it relates to that.
Memorable.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm John Bachman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Della Garza, and joining us live right now from our New York newsroom with the latest on this new development is correspondent Sarah Williamson. So, Sarah, what are you hearing?
Well, the FEC Commissioner, James Traynor, well, he disagrees with the indictment of former President Donald Trump and says it doesn't violate any federal election laws. The bipartisan Federal Election Commission already launched an investigation into the case back in 2018, and it was dismissed. Now, speaking to the Washington Examiner, Commissioner Traynor explains how the FEC and the Justice Department already considered the case and just tossed it. He went on to say that it's not a campaign finance violation. It's not a reporting violation of any kind. I don't know how you get around that evidence that both the Department of Justice in their investigation of the federal campaign finance issues and the Federal Election Commission in their ultimate jurisdiction over campaign finance issues, neither of them found there to be any violations whatsoever. He added that he thinks the jury is going to see that, and they're going to have to rely upon the fact that both the law enforcement experts and civil enforcement experts, as far as the campaign finance is concerned, didn't find any violation of the law here. Commissioner Traynor also making digs on social media, taking to Twitter with a picture of the FEC hearing room, saying this is the campaign finance violations. This is where they're tried. Now, in a statement released by Commissioner Traynor and Commissioner Sean Cooksey back in 2021, they explained that they decided to dismiss the case, citing Cohen's plea deal, and said that the fact that the paperwork in question was done after the election, and isn't it just obvious that this was not to influence the election, so it doesn't fail under the objective standards of the law here, and really there just isn't any case because of that, John and Bianca.
Yet they persist.
And he would know. All right, Sarah Williamson, appreciate that update. Good to see you. Thanks.
All right, joining us now is former National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign and former Principal Deputy Press Secretary at the White House, Hogan Gidley. Hogan, great to see you.
Hi, Hogan.
Great to see you guys.
All right, well, late night host Jon Stewart has entered the chat, and he tore into the media's coverage of the Trump indictment, calling it an epic fail. Well, this after some on MSNBC and CNN tried to play it up much bigger than. There was actually a lot of, I think, disappointment, Hogan, when it came to the mainstream media when the indictment was finally unsealed.
Well, yeah, they're disappointed because they wanted a certain outcome. And in fact, that was the whole purpose of Bragg's fake, phony indictment in the first place. But for Bragg, it's not about winning or losing. It's about tainting Donald Trump for the election. This is what everything's been about since 2016, because the left, and quite frankly, some elites on the right too, got so scared Donald Trump was threatening their little fiefdoms, their power, and they're all about maintaining and gaining political power, of course, that they set out on this mission to try and taint him, to prevent him from ever being elected to president again. They tried to get him out of office when he was in office. In fact, talking about this current issue, and this is what Jon Stewart talked about, I think he's absolutely right here, the most overused word by all journalists during the Trump administration and now after was the word bombshell. Every day was a new bombshell. This was going to take down Trump. Finally, we got him. And it never materialized because they didn't have any evidence. And shock of all shocks, it's because Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong. And now we have this FEC statement, too, on top of what Bragg's trying to do. Look, if it's a state crime, which it isn't, of course, because he didn't commit a crime, but if it's under the state statute, the statute of limitations is way too far along gone at this point. If it's a federal one, he has no jurisdiction to prosecute it, and it's not a federal crime. So the whole thing is ridiculous, but time and time again, they try to go after Donald Trump. Thank you, Jon Stewart. He's gotten a lot of things wrong in his career, no question about it, but he's right on this one, and good for him for saying it.
All right, I'm being told we have that Jon Stewart soundbite. Let's take a listen to it.
Great.
Okay, I guess we do not have that. Bianca, why don't you take us to our next story?
Well, we have no story, but the silver lining there is if it is, an indictment that is so thin, may not even actually, may violate his Sixth Amendment right too, because that you actually have a constitutional right to know what you're being charged with. So let's have the Trump lawyers have fun with that and weigh in there.
That Jon Stewart soundbite is like the crime in the indictment. It's just not there.
It's just not there.
It's not there.
But Hogan, a story
we keep hearing it's there, but it's not there. It's
we
exactly
do.
Right, John.
So this story's been making a lot of headlines in Tennessee. Usually the state capitol there doesn't get a ton of play, but what happened there on the floor was, obviously very dramatic, and a lot of people have been talking about the ouster of two Democratic lawmakers by House Republicans. Well, the third member of that so-called Tennessee 3 state representative, Gloria Johnson, she survived, as you know, the vote on the expulsion. She is white, and she says her colleagues were also because they were black. One of them went on CNN to continue to say that. Let's just take a listen for the viewers here, and we'll react after.
Because what we saw in Tennessee yesterday was an attack on democracy and a very overt racism. As you can see, that the two youngest black lawmakers were kicked out, but our colleague, my dear sister Gloria Johnson, a white woman, was not. And we see clearly, the nation has seen clearly what is going on in Tennessee.
Do you think the GOP sort of gave them a headline and something that maybe they didn't have to? Would a censure have been more appropriate? Because the media obviously will try to race bait and say this is what it is about, although the disruptions there, many say they just can't tolerate people with bullhorns. They have to have, rules, and they have to have order.
Well, I was told by good authority, by everyone on the left, progressives, the media, that if you storm inside a Capitol building, that's an insurrection. So I'm confused as to how those two things aren't congruent. But look, the fact of the matter is Tennessee has its own laws and its own rules, and the way you're supposed to conduct yourself matters according to the people in Tennessee, according to the standards set forth in the House of Representatives there. I don't know all the ins and outs of this. I wasn't there, but I watched this video, and what these folks were doing is outrageous. Trying to take over basically, regular order in the House. And from my understanding, of course, the media is going to try and spin this up as some type of racial issue. It also appears though the woman who is white was off to the side while the other two were actually engaging a lot of the problems that they were cited for when they were removed from office in the first place. This is ugly by every stretch of the imagination, every definition. These types of things shouldn't be happening. We should be able to have a civil conversation about these issues. And some people were right. If you're this angry, bring forth the bill. If you want to protest, stand outside and have a protest peacefully. But you can't do the things that these people are trying to do in these chambers and expect any type of silence from the other side as well. Of course, the left and the media are going to spin this as a racial attack, but it's not.
Yeah, and she was one vote away from also being kicked off, so it was pretty close. Right. And then if she was in the mix, but again, a big talker today.
Details matter, though, Bianca. Of course, they will not get reported in other places. This is just going to be a racial story for most of the media.
The details matter. Details matter, but not to the narrative of the left, because if it fits the narrative, they're going to push it. They don't care about the details.
No, they don't. Hogan Gidley, great to see you, and happy Easter.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Easter to y'all.